All right, so we're back here with another Chalk Talk, this time with Kacy, Harmon, St. Louis native, Charlotte living out here in Charlotte. So this will be our Chalk Talk interview, Kacy. So this will be broken into 4 quarters since we are in sports and entertainment. So jumping right into it, starting in the preseason. Just start off with your name, where you're from, and where you work.
Yeah, so happy to be here and thank you. Name is Kacy Harmon. Currently live in Charlotte, North Carolina, but originally from St. Louis, Missouri. And I work for the Wells Fargo Championship, the PGA golf tournament here in Charlotte.
Absolutely. And what's one aspect of working in sports do you appreciate the most?
I really appreciate the opportunities that I have to make an impact, not only in Charlotte, but in the sports industry as a whole. And that's impact from the business side to creating career opportunities for people as well.
Absolutely. And jumping right into our second quarter with our training days, your early high school and college years, speaking to your point of how sports was that initial making an impact, I know sports has had a tremendous impact on my life, and I'm sure you can attest to that. What did you initially want to do as a career when you were younger?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think really young, I wanted to be a baseball player. But after that, I understood there was a business side to sports. I always knew I wanted to work in sports. I just didn't know what it was. I broke in early in the ticketing side, and that's kind of where I took off.
Absolutely. And through that experience when you broke into it with ticketing, who or what experience gave you your first break, and when did you really acknowledge that there was a career in sports that you could pursue?
Yeah, so I ended up getting a job working game days at St. Louis Cardinals baseball games, selling tickets at the window just for walk-up. And I really got a feel for the industry there. I got to meet some people inside the organization, and I got to learn a little bit more about the business side of sports. After I graduated college, I got a full-time job with a minor league baseball team in St. Louis as the ticketing manager. And at that point, I fell in love, and I knew that was going to be my career moving forward.
So during this time in college, in your early career, what things, tangible things, did you do while you were in college when you lacked experience to gain that experience so you could leverage those relationships to potentially get that job?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was fortunate enough to get 4 or 5 different internships throughout my college career. In sports. Sports writing was one of those. I did a media internship. So I kind of got an internship all over the map. I didn't try to specify in one spot so that I could learn what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do.
Absolutely. And transitioning into what you do now with Wells Fargo, if a student were to shout at you on your day-to-day, what would they see you doing?
They'd be seeing me do a lot, probably. So I obviously lots of communication. I've calls and emails all day regarding the business and where the business is going. From strategy to budgeting to communications to fan communications, social media, market planning. So all of those things. I also update the website. So all those back end things would be part of my daily routine. So it's a lot, but it does keep me engaged with the product and with our fans.
Being that is a really large load to handle, what are 2 aspects of your job do you feel are most satisfying?
Yeah, I think I'll go back to, as I said previously, making an impact in the community. I think, Wells Fargo Championship is a charity at the end of the day, and all the revenue we create and we make through our tournament goes back into the Charlotte community. So that is such a great feeling to be able to give back. And give that money back into to those companies and organizations that need it here in Charlotte. And then also the relationships. And as you grow in the sports industry, relationships are paramount. And the more good, solid, strong, lasting relationships that you can have and build on, the more resources you'll have to bounce ideas off people and see what kind of jobs are available out in the industry, among a long list of other things. But those relationships are really the basis of.
So considering that the high school students don't have those relationships as of right now, what are tangible things that they can do to develop those relationships and get in contact with industry professionals such as yourself?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think you can start by reaching out. I think most industry professionals would be happy to at least have a conversation or respond to your email or point you in the right direction. Reach out to a place that you'd be interested in working. Everybody has an internship open at some point in time. Everybody has maybe some part-time opportunities where you can hop in for a few months and sell something or learn how to sell or work with the marketing team on something, on a certain project or an event. So there's always those opportunities out there. You may have to dig a little bit, but I would start by reaching out to the places that you would want to work and ask them for advice. Ask them if they have any internship openings and start there.
Absolutely. What is one skill that has helped you like sustain and continuously grow in your career and just continue to push forward and do the big things you have done thus far?
Yeah, I think for me, it's really understanding the sales process, and I've harped on it a lot, but understanding the sales process and how to sell has really helped me gain relationships, even through the failed sales that I've had, right? I've gone onto a sales process and sometimes it doesn't work out, but those relationships still are there and it may work out down the road. So those relationships have really carried me through my career. And I can't stress that enough, to create those and build those relationships as you build your career and as you build your internships and all those types of things. Keep those relationships going. Just reach out to people, ask how they're doing, network, meet new people, learn new things. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
Absolutely. And speaking to your point of that failure when you were trying to learn the sales process, what is one thing that you've had to overcome in your career that has changed your perspective on how you look at things going forward?
Yeah, great question. And unfortunately, I've had my job being eliminated before, not by anything that I've done, just the company downsized and my job was no longer in the budget. So being thrust in that position with literally no warning, during a tough recession and tough economy was really hard and stressful. But at the same time, I went right home and I got on the computer and I started looking up jobs and applying and networking and calling my friends and colleagues and people in the business. And, it was mentally draining. But again, those relationships, man, in every situation, they will come back and help you. As long as you've built good, strong, lasting relationships and you've worked hard for people in the past, those relationships will come back to help you.
Going into our last quarter, the playoffs, so got to come out on top. We need a W. Ending up with some career advice. Kacy, if you could go back and tell your high school self one piece of advice, what would you tell yourself?
I would say don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I was a little bit more on the shy side back in those days. I worked really hard, but I was a little bit more on the shy side. And I think if I had put myself out there a little bit more, maybe some different opportunities would have arisen that maybe would have been interesting. Thoroughly thrilled with my career path and where I've been able to go and what I've been able to accomplish. But don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Get involved with things that you're interested in. Learn new things. Meet new people. Don't be afraid to do that. Most people will be willing to help you.
Absolutely. Ending off with one last powerful piece of advice for the campers that are going to watch this Chalk Talk. What is the very next step that you would recommend them take to potentially be in a career or a position of your magnitude?
Yeah, I'd say it's really twofold for me. I think, try to get an internship somewhere. Try to start a relationship there with a company or an organization or a hiring manager. Show them that you can work hard, learn something new at the same time, and start building your resume. At the same time, I think if you can find something to sell or sell for somebody, that's a great resume builder as well. You're learning the sales process at the same time, and you may be able to make a few dollars on the side. So I think those two things are going to be super critical at this point in your career. And it's only going to thrust you into bigger and better things in your collegiate career if you go that route. And you'll be able to get those more meaningful relationships and more meaningful internships down the road.
Absolutely. And speaking to your point of meaningful relationships, I definitely feel like the high school students who are watching this are going to want to develop a relationship with you after this. And I myself definitely look forward to cultivating ours. So I want to thank you again, Kacy, for joining us on our Chalk Talk interview session with the Sports Biz Campers. Be on the lookout for more content. We have a bunch more industry professionals coming up. That will conclude our Chalk Talk interview. So like I said, thank you, Kacy, and be on the lookout for more content. Peace.